Hi, Dyslexic Genius here. What I'm going to do is go through the whole assembly of the Edison Gem on the restoration, but I'm going to explain every part in detail for you. And this is for a good friend of mine, Ricky. And we're going to start with the mandrel. This is a mandrel, and you see all these on cylinder players, and this is where the cylinders fit on. On a gem, you have a nut, brass or bronze washer, you have the mandrel shaft, and then you have this end piece for adjustment. So what I do on these is I take some 600 grit sandpaper, and you know I talk about the galling. I lightly polish.
Explain what galling is.
Galling is, you see how this has worn in these, you see how this has worn in threads? You see the lines in here from wear? So we have a high and a low area on this. So we're going to fix these high and low areas. The first thing you do is you get this part which holds the mandrel in place on the right side. And this goes onto the shaft here. So what I first do on these is, because these get wear marks and get out of round like that, I just take some 600 grit sandpaper and I hold it and I feel the end and I polish this down. Now we have a much better running surface. And then we're going to do the same on the back side of this. You just want to follow around. You can feel it like that. See, we polish that out. Now what we're going to do, because of this part here has wear, and when you look at this collar, it's this screw is offset more to my left than here. So this is the part that goes next to the mandrel. We're going to take that and then take the 600 grit and you push down and you do a circle. And now it polished out. And why are we doing this? Because the mandrel shaft goes in here like that. Now we have a running surface here on the mandrel, and we have the collar that holds it in place. Now these two surfaces are polished out for smoother running. So when the mandrel shaft is spinning, that's running. If you have, like on a gem, and some Edisons have these, if those two pieces aren't smooth, but they have the lines, the galling, the roughness, the wear marks, this will cause the mandrel not to spin freely. So what we'll do, so you will insert the washer here. This step goes into this hole like this.
That threaded part?
Threaded part goes on. Now we're going to put the nut on. The nut has a flat side and a rounded side. This flat side like that goes in. That's what you start the threads with. Now when you tighten it, the mandrel shaft is going to have a tendency to spin on you, so you just want to hold it up here.
What size is that?
5/16. Or if you don't have this, you can use a box end like this one. Now because Edison homes,
that's
a gem, don't have an oiling mark here. There's not an oiling hole on this end piece with this gear. What we're going to do is you're going to kind of line up the mandrel, and you will put a dab of oil, and down about here you'll put a little oil. Now we'll slide this on. Now we will put the polished side in. We will close the gate. And it fits, it's working. Now what we're going to do is we're going to set the gap. You saw how the difference was? When this collar pushes in, it doesn't spin freely, but you get a little bit of play. Hear that? And that sounds much better. So what I'm going to use is my pointy X-Acto knife. Lock that down.
So there's a screw right there.
That has to come back just a hair. Now we'll put 1 drop of oil between there. And 1 more drop right in here. And we'll just take the excess off. And that's spinning very nicely. And that's how you put in a mandrel shaft onto an Edison Gem. And that's my tip for the day.